If you clicked this video because the words "Goodbye Catalina" made your stomach drop a little bit, you're in the right place, because today we're answering a very uncomfortable question. Is Catalina actually going away, or is this just another sailing rumor that got out of hand? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening with Catalina right now, why the news feels so strange and confusing, and then, and this part matters, we're going to rewind a little bit and look at why Catalina may have done more for sailing than any other brand ever has. There are companies that go bankrupt and nobody really notices. A press release goes out, a few accountants update spreadsheets, and the rest of us move on. And then there are companies that go quiet, and the silence feels loud. Right now, as you're watching this, Catalina Yachts is effectively not building boats anymore. Production has been paused. The factory that was supposed to carry the brand forward has gone dark. There have been court filings and eviction notices and a lot of unanswered questions where certainty used to live. And that forces a question that feels almost wrong to say out loud. Is this the end of Catalina Yachts? Because Catalina wasn't just another sailboat manufacturer. It wasn't a boutique yard chasing trends or luxury brand selling aspiration. Catalina was the background hum of sailing itself. It was the thing you assumed would always be there, like docks, like halyards slapping in the wind, like the guy in the marina who somehow knows everyone. In 2025, Catalina was sold with promises of a new beginning to that Reardon guy. A reset, a fresh chapter. Optimism followed, because optimism always followed Catalina. Then came the phase no sailor ever wants to hear. Temporary production pause. Employees were sent home. Owners started comparing notes. Forums lit up with information, Facebook groups filled with screenshots and rumors and that uniquely nautical blend of hope and dread. And then came reports of eviction from the Florida facility, words that simply don't belong in the same sentence as a brand that taught so many people how to sail. Suddenly, people were talking about Florida Catalina and California Catalina, trying to figure out which Catalina even existed anymore. The website was shut off. Phones stopped getting answered, and the brand that had always felt permanent suddenly felt unmoored. And here's why this hurts in a way that is hard to explain to anyone who isn't a sailor. If Catalina disappears, this wouldn't just be the loss of another boat builder, it would be the loss of the single biggest on-ramp into sailing that has ever existed. I'm going to say something bold here, and I stand by it. Catalina may have done more for sailing than any other brand ever has. Not because they built the fastest boats, not because they built the prettiest boats, not because they chased performance trophies or glossy magazine covers, but because they built boats that normal people could buy. Catalina didn't sell fantasy, they sold permission. Permission to start sailing, permission to learn, permission to screw up, permission to dream without needing a trust fund. Take this comment from YouTube on that Beneteau versus Island Packet video I made asking you guys to pick one between Beneteau and Island Packet. Arguments ensued in the comments, Beneteau this and Island Packet that. But this one viewer named Don hit the nail on the head. He said, I used to say I like a boat that sails well to windward. Neither of these boats do that particularly well. The Beneteau will go faster upwind, but it'll slam and bang jarringly in a stiff sea. Downwind, the Beneteau is a rocket, but it's twitchy when compared to the IP. More work. The best answer, though not an option you offered, is a compromise. I bought the Catalina 445, and I suggest it's the perfect in-between, both upwind and down. It has a moderate weight, a fin keel, and a slack forefoot that takes a sharp sea pretty nicely and is also well behaved off the wind. It has good all-around performance with solid comfort below and a pleasing build quality. You've identified two specific types of sailors in this video. The Catalina 445 is for everyone else. And Don is absolutely right. And if you learn to sail in North America, there's a very real chance your story begins with a Catalina, even if you didn't realize it at the time. For a lot of people, the story starts with a Catalina 22. This boat wasn't glamorous, it wasn't trying to impress anyone. It was a small, honest, and forgiving the way a good teacher is forgiving. Trailerable, simple, safe, cheap. It was the boat that let nervous parents put their kids on the water. The boat that let someone with zero experience feel competent for the first time. Over 15,000 Catalina 22s were built, and every single one of them quietly did the same thing. It took someone who thought sailing was not for people like me and proved them wrong. This boat launched more sailing careers than any yacht club ever could, and it didn't demand perfection. It rewarded curiosity. It let you fail without punishing you for it. That alone would be enough to cement Catalina's place in history forever. Quick side note, I changed the way Lady K Sailing videos are released. They still come out on Monday morning like they always have, but now paid patrons will get the video on Friday before the weekend. I'll drop a link every Friday in our 2026 group chat for you guys to click on. Back to Catalina. They didn't stop at that 22-footer. Then came the Catalina 30, arguably the most important sailboat Catalina ever built. This wasn't a beginner boat. This was your second boat. The boat you bought when sailing stopped being something you did and started being something you were. Over 6,000 of these boats were launched, and for a long time it was the most successful production cruising sailboat in history. The Catalina 30 didn't just give people more space, it gave them confidence and a real galley, a real head, a real reason to stay aboard all weekend. This is the boat that turned sailors into cruisers, the boat that made Sunday night feel optional, the boat that quietly reshaped how Americans use their boats. And then Catalina did something that a lot of companies fail to do. They grew up with their customers. The Catalina 36 arrived and said, "You don't have to leave us now." This was the boat that made living aboard realistic for thousands of people. It had proper tankage and proper storage, proper comfort, not theoretical cruising, real cruising, the kind where you wake up at anchor and realize you've accidentally built a new life. Thousands of these boats went out into the world, and a staggering number of them are still sailing today, quietly proving that sensible design ages better than fashion. Then Catalina went bigger without losing its soul. The Catalina 42 and later the 42 Mark II. They weren't compromises. These were real cruising boats that set real cruising standards. Boats people trusted with crossings and families and long-term plans. Boats that felt solid and predictable and honest in a way that matters when the horizon starts getting very far away. These weren't boats for impressing people at the dock. They were boats for leaving the dock behind. And then, just when critics started muttering that Catalina was old-fashioned, they surprised everyone. The 425 and later 426 arrived, modern and capable and genuinely exciting. These boats weren't nostalgia pieces, they were a statement. Big interiors, serious cruising intent, boats that felt like Catalina was saying, we're still here and we're still evolving. And this was a defining moment for Catalina in the entire sailing world. While island packets were getting heavier, the French boats all went twin helm, twin rudder, and only came 1,000,000 feet wide, Catalina did what it does best. It asked the owners of previous Catalinas what they wanted, and that's how the 425 and 426 came to be. Heavier than the French boats, better built, more sensible. Not many were built compared to the classics, roughly around 1,000 combined, but they mattered. They felt like opening notes of a new chapter that now feels painfully unfinished. When they launched the 6 series of boats recently, it was totally redesigned keel, providing more lift and less drag, but keeping the depth Bahamas friendly, exactly what the owners asked for. And that's why this moment feels heavy, because Catalina didn't just build boats. They built sailors, they built confidence, they built access to sailing, and they built community. Catalina boats were forgiving in the same way a good mentor forgives you. They let you learn, they let you grow. They didn't demand that you already knew everything before stepping aboard a sailboat. There are tens of thousands of Catalinas out there right now, sitting in slips, on moorings, on trailers, teaching kids, carrying couples, holding memories, each one a little floating chapter in someone's history. If Catalina never builds another boat, this is not a failure story. This is a legacy story. Legacy isn't measured in quarterly profits or production runs. It's measured in impact, and Catalina's impact is everywhere, in every marina where a boat looks a little scruffier but a lot more loved, in every sailor who says, I started on a Catalina, in every dream that felt attainable instead of absurd. Maybe Catalina reorganizes. Maybe the brand is rescued somehow. Maybe this pause really is temporary. Sailing has a funny way of surprising us when we least expect it. But even if this is goodbye, Catalina already changed the world. Frank Butler already changed the world, because sailing isn't just about boats. It's about who gets to participate, and no one opened that door wider than Catalina. Which is right up our alley, because here at Lady K Sailing, our mission has always been to get more people sailing more easily, and I sure couldn't make these videos without you guys, liking and commenting on videos, and of course the patrons, people who for as little as a couple of bucks an episode help make these videos possible. They also get access to the app and the group chat and early access to all the videos. If you'd like to help me and help us get more people sailing more easily, please consider joining us on Patreon. I hope to see you there. Also, if you need a one-on-one consult with me, you can book it at the website, ladyksailing.com. I just made a calendar thing where you can go and pick a day and time all by yourself and book the consultation. Until next time, friends, keep the heavy side down, but not too far down. I love you guys.